career and technical education is hands-on learning. It's great for students, and it's great for our communities and the economy.
The return on investment with career and technical education is about jobs, it's about economic success, and it's about opportunity.
We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up.
That may be a move that we see the Trump administration take. I think it is far from a foregone conclusion that they would be successful if they decide to go down that path.
Back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it.
The federal government has very little role in defining curriculum or in determining what it is that students are actually learning day to day. That is really a function that's left to states and localities.
I am hopeful that if he changes any of the federal government, the way the Department of Education is set up, that the states are forward-thinking enough that they have plans to come in and make sure that it is not affecting or having a very low effect on students. My name is Laura Richards-Farwell, and I am the Monitoring and Compliance Consultant at Oakland Schools. Perkins is a federal legislation, and it is money that is specifically earmarked for career technical education.
We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation.
I think that if CTE funding were cut, my classes would simply disappear.
And I'd have to be okay with watching my program diminish. There would be no more growth. It would be survival.
I'm David Weeks. I teach here at Royal Oak High School the Industrial Tech and DP Design classes.
I'm Mike Conrad, and I teach the TV video programs at Royal Oak High School in Royal Oak, Michigan. The initial thought of the elimination of the Department of Education is what happens to funding.
We rely on that federal funding mechanism to do everything we do. We are an elective class, so that means while we do meet certain graduation requirements, we are not a required class to take.
And if that funding were cut, I would not be able to replace equipment. When the equipment dies, the class dies.
So everything that you see in here is paid specifically with CTE funds. Our table saw, our band saws, our drill presses, both of our CNC machines, all of our 3D printers, our computer lab.
Perkins helps along the way help fund career technical education programs so that kids can learn all of those skills, including hands-on, work-based learning, leadership along the way, so that regardless of what pathway they're going to take, that they're prepared to help be part of society and part of the workforce.
Oh, the hands-on nature is everything in this class. I cannot teach career skills by just showing them images or videos. There's an aspect of holding that equipment in your hand and making mistakes and doing again, as opposed to doing it out in the workplace where you could lose your job for making those mistakes. So let's make those mistakes here. But in order to do that, man, you've got to have your hands on those cameras. You've got to know where those buttons are. You have to know what all those dials do.
The beauty of it is the tools of career and technical education are so diverse. It could be a welder. It could be a hammer, it could be wrenches, but it also could be a paintbrush, it could be a stethoscope, it could be farm implements, it could be a keyboard for coding. There's just so much.
My name is Mark Say. I'm a student here at Royal Oak High School. Freshman year, I took engineering 1 and 2. I loved it, and I ended up taking it again the next year. Right now I'm doing an electric skateboard project where I made a deck, I bought some trucks, and I'm basically designing and fabricating every other part of the skateboard. He kind of gave me the tools, resources, and knowledge for me to explore engineering kind of at a lower level so that I know what I'm getting into in college.
I have a student who is an Imagineer with Disney. One of them is a legislative aide for Congress, so it wasn't really the engineering skills they took, but the problem-solving skills they learned in here.
I had a student I just found out recently who is doing some news work in Milwaukee, and over Thanksgiving weekend she was able to anchor. She is doing exactly what we did here in class. She used to go to hockey games and do stand-up reports. She would anchor at the news desk right here. And now she's doing it as a profession and getting paid for it. That really shows me what this program can do.
My name is Megan Lee, and I am a reporter in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Intro to video production and Raven Report and like all of that, it was kind of the first step in my career. I've never been a math person or a science person. I've always liked to write and read and be creative. I got to Central Michigan University and I was ready to hit the ground running because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And having Mr. Conrad believe in me was the best thing ever. He pushed me to be where I am today.
There are so many moving parts within the Department of Education. I don't know how or where pieces are going to land. I don't know how you tell states and schools and colleges that you're going to take this funding and they just have to figure it out on their own. But to take something and shut it down that has so many different pieces to it that really I don't think the general public realize, I think it's detrimental. I do.